Hello, everyone. This is Patricia Shanks, and it's Studio Shanks Sundays live at 5 here on YouTube at youtube.com/Patricia Shanks Voice. And as you can maybe tell, I have a little bit of the seasonal cold. Everyone else has had it. I'm one of the last to get it this season, and I'm just thrilled about it. So we'll see how well I track today, and forgive my little tissues and nasality. But anyway, today, my plan, we'll see if I track. My plan is to talk a little bit about talent. What is it? How do we recognize it, especially in young people? Because that's where we first want to recognize the talent so that we can develop it in kids as they grow up and become mature performers. And I'm sure there are many, many different takes on this. I did a little looking around to see what people think about it. I have, of course, my own opinion on what constitutes talent, and then there's some other thoughts along the way that I'll get into. But to me, when you look for talent in a young person, it's not the obvious, are they singing along with the radio? And I'm talking about singers right now, but I can also be talking about all kinds of musicians and other creative types, artists and writers. But, it's not so much are they singing along with whatever they hear on the radio or wherever they hear it on their phones. And especially some of the things that they are singing along with, very young voices should not be singing along with, because a very young voice, we're talking about children in the single digits, any single digits, should not be singing much beyond the range of C4, which is middle C on the piano, sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little higher, maybe a D for very, very young ones, and not much above B3 or C or B4 rather, and C5. That octave range is the appropriate range for a very young voice. And children who are singing these adult songs with with the radio are actually learning habits that they may have to get rid of in order to be able to sing with a nice natural voice quality. So it behooves maybe parents to play other kinds of music, or to play acoustic music maybe on the piano and sing along with, but keep that range in that middle C to C5, C4 to C5 range, and you'll be doing right by the children. So talent, things that I've always looked for are when you see a child who is paying close attention, who's watching, who's listening, a child who hears things, maybe hears sounds and comments on sounds that other people don't pay any attention to. Children who do other creative things, children who are tapping rhythmically just out of the blue, children who make music out of anything, make music out of walking down the street in rhythm and humming. Those are things that I look for, but usually it's in my experience at least, in a rather quiet child, and and then I think there are different categories of artists as well, different categories of talent. And I've long held the idea that there are performing artists, and then there are musical skilled musicians, and they can cross over. But one of the other things that I look for in young people and in all people is that they gravitate toward instruments. That a piano or a brass instrument or a reed instrument or a violin or something is just awesome to them, that they must look at it and figure out how it works, how do you make sounds. Another thing is that children will invent their own songs. They'll make their own music. That's a very creative hint that maybe they have some special talent. And oh gosh, there are so many things to look for. One of the phone calls that that I always get, and I know many other teachers get this too, is I think my child has some special talent. They're always singing. They're singing with whoever the artist of the day is. And and parents, I know you love your children, and it may well be that they have some special talent, but not necessarily. So what I what I want parents to do is to take a hard look at, do they want for their child to have a special talent, or do they see other signs that their child has a special talent? We would love our children to be stars and to be wonderful musicians and wonderful singers. I kind of wish that sometimes we had, my child has this affinity for science. They make science projects all the time. Uh, I think that happens less frequently, and I think that the uh, the s- the thought of their child being talented has to do with them being, it's like their child being a sports star. It's a good future, it's money, it's security, and prestige and notoriety. And I think those are the things that well-intended parents are looking at when they're saying, I think my child has a special talent. But don't put that on them. Let them explore. And when I say let them explore, this gets into a whole other kind of an area. When you take your child to a teacher, keep in mind you're taking your child to a professional who wants to teach your child the best, wants to teach your child how to make the right sounds, that there are going to be skills involved, that it's not just about singing songs. There are classes out there, there are programs that children can participate in, adults can participate in, where you're just singing songs, having fun, making music. But if you're going to a voice teacher, there will be some instruction involved, and beginning instruction is not necessarily all fun and games. People think that the beginning things are the easiest. Well, the beginning things can be the hardest, the most difficult to grasp. And then once you get those few concepts, then things start to make sense and fall in place. And the beginning things can take a bit, especially for a young child. And other things, getting back on my topic, and again, I'm sorry, I have a cold. It's just, I'm trying to track. Getting back on my topic, other things that I think we look for, teachers look for in children and adults to see if they're talented, are they level of sensitivity. That doesn't mean they have to cry on, the drop of a dime, but are they sensitive to people? Are they sensitive to music that they hear? Are they moved? Are they moved by things? I think that's important in determining how well someone will do with singing or with music, with playing the piano, with anything musical. And the intelligence level, okay? So there's an emotional intelligence, and there's just book learning intelligence. There's the ability to grasp ideas, and then there's curiosity. I think that maybe above a lot of these other things, curiosity and stick-to-itiveness, as Mom used to say, and some of the desire to get in there and make those sounds and keep working in spite of, when you just want to are reduced to tears because it's not working. But just the drive, the desire to do the thing. It's so funny because my very first voice teacher used to talk about students that she had over the years, students who she had. And she would say that people would come in with massive amounts of talent, but they wouldn't do the work. And then you would have people who came in with that curiosity and that intellectual ability and that interest in doing something, and they would exceed the work of those who had more talent. And along the years, when I've been teaching, I've seen exactly the same thing. Those who, for whatever reason, are determined that they're going to do this thing can actually do something with it. So, talent, a lot of times, very gregarious children are good performers, but sometimes the very gregarious children are more uh, social, and they don't have that part of the package that it takes to sit down and do the work. Um, you know, especially these days, you kind of have to be everything. You have to be social, you have to, but you have to sit down and do the work that it takes. You know, these high levels of skill don't just happen. So, what else goes into talent? It's so tricky. It's so tricky to determine. Sometimes I just, you know, and sometimes I'm wrong, but sometimes I just get a sense of it when I look at someone, or hear someone or see them work. Um, you know, you just know that this person has the ability to do something with their music. So talent is difficult to pinpoint. The being able to determine what talent is difficult. I think if we knew that, we'd have, you know, many more skilled performers out there. But what I'd like to do now, because it's probably the best thing I should be doing right now, I have a lovely little book. I've had this book for years, and it's so funny because so many other voice teachers, there are two things that all the voice teachers who I uh, have appreciated over the years, who I thought were doing good things with their students and were knowledgeable, had a couple of different books. One of them is this lovely little vocal wisdom book, which are it's the maxims of Giovanni Battista Lamperti, who was one of the voice teachers of antiquity, and there is transcribed by William Earl Brown, who was one of his students. And it's a kind of a poetic, old-fashioned little book, very small, and it's it's not indexed or anything, so you kind of have to leaf through it and to find things. And I kept threatening one day I would try to index some of the ideas, but I never did. So this is one of the things. The other thing for those students, and I don't care if they want to learn classical or sing more contemporary forms of music. I think that there's what I call not classical but traditional voice training that's at the heart of everything. It's singing a nice uniform sound. I'm probably repeating myself in these videos, but this is my goal, is to help people get a uniform, natural sound from top to bottom of their range that's easy to produce, feels good, doesn't do any damage, resonant. And the really neat thing, and I've had students over the years say this in various ways, when you hit that sound, when you put all the pieces together. One student I remember left his lesson kind of dumbstruck, you know, at what the sounds he'd made. And he came back the next lesson and said, okay, he threw his jacket down and said, okay, I've got to get that sound again. It's addicting. And it is, when you find that wonderful, balanced voice production. So anyway, this book is one of the things, Vocal Wisdom, and I have three little things on being an artist in here that speak to talent, I think. And another one is the Vaccai, or Vaccai, Vaccai or Vaccej, another voice master from the old days. And there is a little book, Practical Method for Singers, which I'm, again, always surprised at who is using this. And if someone knows how to use that book, if you know what you're supposed to get out of every little exercise in that book, by the time you get through that book, you can sing. So those are two things that I absolutely love and would love to use with whomever is inclined. Okay, so there I am. So let me pull out a couple of very poetic little passages from this. An artist, okay. When a singer uses his intelligence and emotion on a 50-50 basis, he's an artist. His success is as great as his personality. Personality is a mixture of natural endowment, environmental influences, and education. The mixture of inherent qualities, taps an elemental force which makes a genius. Okay, well, we should all get to genius. Would that be lovely? Talent without education is helpless. Education without talent is useless. And hard work is thrown in there somewhere in my little add-on. You do not accept a violinist who plays continually out of tune. Why then applaud a singer who is off the key, both in pitch and quality? And quality being, you know, if we hear it more, we recognize it more. We need to hear it more. And there's much more in that, but that's one thing. Then there's this very little poetic section here. The soul of a singer. When the soul of a singer demands technique of both voice and breath before it will emerge as tone. When okay, I don't know if that's a sentence or not, but anyway, intense vibration and adequate energy must be ever available. Okay, overtones are its colors, rhythm is its heartbeat, resonance its body, vowels the form it assumes, consonants are its hands, emotion is its lifeblood, that's important, imagination, very important, that's important in talent, its ears and eyes, thought its feet, desire its wings, melody is its language. The soul of the singer is the subconscious self. Okay, we have to have a rich inner life. This inner life is that creative life, and that's where all of this is born, I feel. That creativity, that imagination, that inner life. Okay, so the subconscious self, it can use the body and mind only after these are disciplined by the conscious self. It's work. It's work to be an artist, and artistry, you need talent and you need hard work. Okay. And one little section here. When both aesthetic and practical sides of a personality touch, crass emotionalism ceases. We have a lot of crass emotionalism in performance these days. Lots of what I call cosmetically applied performing and singing. At the same time, calculated mechanism disappears. So it's you don't want to be too technical, but you need to be technical, so technical that you can let go of that technique and allow the voice, the talent, the artistry to shine through. And I know in my acting classes and that experience, and in everything else, and in painting when I used to paint and draw, you have to know that you have to have the basic skills, and then once those basic skills are locked in, then you break through those basic skills and the artist emerges. So expect your talented child, or you as a talented young or older adult, expect that you'll have to do some work. Expect that you will have ups and downs. Expect that journey to be intellectual, emotional, difficult, wonderful, a whole mixture of things. But if you need to do this enough, it's like in Rainer Maria Rilke in Letters to From Something, a Young Poet. I think I misspoke on one other video. When he says something, paraphrased, when you first wake up in the morning, if the first thing you think of doing is writing, then you're a writer. If your desire is to sing or play an instrument or paint or write or do whatever it is that you do, and that's your main focus, then that's probably what you're meant to be. And talent is very important. Anybody can learn to sing. Can anybody learn to be a great singer? Not necessarily. Can you learn the skills to sound nice? Possibly, potentially, probably. But you know, it's how much desire you have to do the thing that you want to do is what will make the difference. So I think I spoke a little bit about talent and how to find talent. Again, forgive me, it's a cold. I have a cold. And I spoke a little bit about creativity and desire and what it takes to do whatever your passion is. There's a quote that I used to have on a card, and I cannot think of the author. It was not a familiar author, but it said something to the effect of, we must find the thing that speaks to us, the passion, the thing we have passion for, and embrace it and do it. And, without question. So if singing is your thing, then please find me. Here's the commercial. I always forget my commercials. I just start talking and I forget. This is you can subscribe to me here. This is Patricia Shanks Voice on YouTube, youtube.com/Patricia Shanks Voice. My Facebook page is Patricia Shanks Music. On Instagram, I'm Patricia Shanks. I think you can find me. There's a space or an underscore or something, but you'll see it's me. And and my website, my main website for teaching voice and piano is studioshanks.com. And there are other sites too, but please find me and subscribe, follow, like, whatever the requirement is. And I do appreciate it. And I hope, I don't know if there's a lot of substance in some of these talks, but who knows? Something might speak to you, and I hope it does. That's the purpose. And so until the next time, thank you for watching.